You are now listening to the Proper Property Podcast with Jonny and Luke.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Proper Property Podcast. I'm Luke.
And I'm Jonny.
Good to be back. It's been a little bit of a while.
Yeah, we have had a little bit of a break.
We have not an intentional break. I think just life caught up with us, maybe.
Yeah, holidays, school holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real life stuff. But yeah.
Been busy though, right?
Yeah.
How was your holiday?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, really good.
What did you go up to?
Went to Benidorm.
Benidorm.
Big up Benidorm. Yeah, it were good. It were good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen you did that, what do you call it? The buggy riding.
Oh, mate, immense. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, I think sometimes you've got to break it up a bit, and all the night kids are starting to get older. It's good that you can do things with kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Would you do that with Kai or?
I did it with Kai, yeah.
Sound.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Sand everywhere.
Mate, you put them goggles on, they're pointless. So I had goggles on and glasses, still sand in my eyes.
Did you wear the meta glasses?
No.
Oh,
I know.
Missed a trick.
I know. I didn't take them on holiday with me.
Oh, money well spent then, the glasses, yeah.
600 quid well spent on
Just left
meta
at home
glasses.
on holiday.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well done, mate. Okay, yeah. So I think this week, we're going to touch base on serviced accommodation. Yeah. So we've just gone through July, especially at Stay Host Save, my serviced accommodation management business. We've had an extremely busy July. Through various different reasons, purely on the fact that it was the peak month in the peak season. We've had lots of events in Sheffield, from tramlines to Base Fest, 90s Fest. A hell of a lot of people coming into the city for various other reasons as well, swimming competitions. And for me, whilst it was really, really busy, it flowed well. And that's because in our service accommodation business, we've got a lot of non-negotiables, a lot of automations, and a lot of set procedures that make a really, really busy month run smoothly. And I've talked to a few people that are in service accommodation in Sheffield and in various different cities as well that have also had a busy month, but have really struggled. And I wanted to touch base today on some non-negotiables and some procedures and automations that we have in place to make those busy months not be a struggle, flow nicely. Obviously, there's issues. Obviously, there's challenges. But we're not having to worry about how busy the day-to-day issues are. We can just action the problems that arise rather than having to worry about all the day-to-day. And then in the mix of that, the issues get thrown on top. So for me, today is about the stuff that we do at Stay Host Save to make service accommodation run smoothly.
Yeah, and I think this is your specialist subject, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're probably not going to see much of me on this podcast today or hear much from me, but because as how me and you work is, I find the deals, I find the properties, and for serviced accommodation, it then gets handed over to you, and you pretty much deal with all that.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't just sit around twiddling my thumbs.
No.
If things need doing, we've got procedures in place to have handymen on board, and I overlook a lot of that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And you do all the automation. Again, you're special. Special. You're very special.
Thanks, mate.
Your speciality, I think, is systemization.
Absolutely.
And you really do know how to systemize things, to make them run, and to be able to take a step back. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people fail, especially with serviced accommodation. They really do think it's as easy as what they're told in these courses. And so
just pop it on Airbnb and watch your bank account blow up.
Yeah.
Which is not the case.
Not the
whatsoever.
case.
I mean, for me, I've got a career background in hotels, hotel management, guest management, rate management, the logistics of 300-bed hotels. So transitioning those skills into service accommodation, the skill set that is required is very, very similar, apart from instead of the bedrooms all being in one building, the bedrooms are split across a city or an area or a nation. So I had a bit of a stepping stone in terms of how I was going to run my serviced accommodation business by using all the knowledge of hotel management, because essentially it's the same thing.
I think that's such a great point. It's sold at a lot of property investment courses, but it really is a hospitality business.
Yeah.
And that's where people fuck up.
Yeah.
It really is. They think that it's property investment.
Yeah. Which it is.
It is, because there is a property involved, but that's the start and the end of the investment.
Yeah.
The actual running of the business, it's a hospitality business.
Yeah.
It's guest management.
Yeah.
It's dealing with people. And this is one of the big things, and I absolutely take my hat off to you. I see some of the messages, and we'll go through a few as well. And I won't be able to. I won't be able to bite my tongue.
Yeah.
I really don't know how you can do it. I take my hat off to you.
It tests my patience. It really does test my patience, and I think that's one of the reasons that I moved to the middle of nowhere where there's no humans.
Yeah.
Because I'm at the end of my tether with human beings.
Yeah. Yeah. Where Luke lives, he doesn't even have internet connection. He's waiting for Starlink to fly over his house so that he can actually get some sort of internet.
Yeah, I have to time when I send my emails when Starlink satellite flies over. 3, 2, 1, send.
Yeah.
But there's no humans there, and it's a nice way of just to be clear, there isn't. I don't live in like the middle of the woods, but I do live in quite a remote area. So yeah.
I think we should start this off with negatives.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the negatives of running serviced accommodation.
Yeah.
And there are positives, so we will come to that. But I think we should start with the negatives. So what are the horror stories? Give us a few horror stories.
How long have we got?
Just give us a few.
There's so many. The problem with serviced accommodation, the problem with any people serviced environment is every human's different, and everybody has different expectations, and everybody has a different attitude. Do you know what I mean? So it's really, really difficult to treat every guest the same, because they're all different. Like, for example, we would assume that every guest or everybody knows how to turn on an electric shower, right? Which is common. I've grown up in a house that had an electric shower. I'm sure you have. I'm sure everybody has that's listening to this podcast. It's usually a switch or a pull string, right? Very, very, very common. But not every guest has experienced that. And instead of, for me, if I'd got to an Airbnb or an accommodation unit and I didn't know how to turn the shower on, I'd probably send a very nice message or a nice phone call. But this one instance, this chap called up and Lucy, someone from my team, she answered the phone call. Are we able to play the phone call? Is that like against GDPR?
I don't know.
If we can play it, we'll play it. If we can't play it, we'll not play it. But anyway, this guest called up and he was absolutely raging that the fact that the shower didn't work. He was swearing.
I think we'd be all right to play it. Do you want to play it? Let's play it.
Okay, we'll play it.
Yeah.
So would we just edit this in then?
Yeah, I'll edit it in. We'll play it.
Okay, we'll play it. Yeah,
we'll play it.
Yeah, fuck him.
Fuck him.
So we'll play this.
I love our. We're currently on episode 4, and we haven't swore up to now, but now we're talking about serviced accommodation.
Yeah,
we're starting to swear a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's difficult to keep your emotions in when people can really be so thick.
Yeah. Right. So this is where we're playing the video now, so we're gonna have to cut it there.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah, you can carry on. I can play a video over this.
So we'll cut it there, and then we'll play it. I'm gonna have to play it though, aren't I? So I know what.
Oh. Hi, we've just missed a call from you.
Yes,
You have, haven't you? Yeah, it's I'm currently staying in two. I don't know if you've seen. I sent you an email. I wasn't very happy on arrival because you lied to me. You said there was free parking, and free parking doesn't mean parking on the street, does it? That's a lie. It's not very kind, lying. So I walked into the studio apartment. I've got undressed, climbed into. Oh, it's the neighbours looking at me now. Hello. Yeah, climbed into the shower to find that it's not working. So I'm now stood, wrapped in a towel, not feeling very happy, and the neighbours are walking past the kitchen windows, which is also my bedroom. So that's fantastic, isn't it? So I don't know whether there's anything you can do, but I'm going to be asking for quite a large refund, actually. So I'm not happy. In short, hello?
Yeah, no, I'm still here, just letting you finish, Mark.
Yes, I finished.
When you say the shower's not working, is there no water, or is the water not warm? What's the problem?
No, I've walked in, I've turned it on and pressed the button and absolutely nothing happened.
So the button on the outside of the bathroom, if you just make sure that's switched on, there's a switch next to the light switch, that should enable the shower.
Okay, I've seen it. Fantastic, it'll work now.
Okay then, thanks Mark.
Just let me tell you, the parking problem hasn't been resolved, has it?
Well, I mean, it is free parking. There's no
It's bullshit though, isn't it? No, that's bullshit.
Mark, you don't need to use that kind of language with me.
I'm using that kind of language because I'm very angry.
I'll let you go. Thank you, Mark. Bye-bye.
Right, you'll be hearing from the trading standards, actually.
Okay then, thank you.
Bye-bye.
So yeah, as you've heard, this guest had booked a studio apartment, which is an apartment that is typically one room with a bed, living area, kitchen, all in one space, right? So he's booked that, he's chose that, the pictures are all there. He's obviously fuming that it's just one room. He's booked the wrong thing. He's obviously absolutely fuming that he's not got his own car park in the city centre. We advertise the property as free on-street parking. There is free on-street parking, but he's called us liars.
Yeah, and said there ain't no free parking.
Yeah, it's not very nice lying, is it? That's nasty. You've lied to me. And then obviously the shower, he's just not pulled the pull string. So yeah, this is just a...
But this is literally 0.00001% of the shit that you have to put up with in serviced accommodation.
I had a guest recently that booked a 2-up, 2-down terraced house just next to the Sheffield United ground. So those of you that know the area, they're a typical terraced English house. So this guest arrived and asked where the escalator was.
Elevator.
Sorry, yes,
yeah,
elevator.
Yeah. Where's the elevator in the property? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. Please comment if you've ever been to a mid-terrace house and there's been an elevator in it, because I'm pretty certain it doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's so hard to go through some of these horror stories. Like off the top of my head, I can't even think of any now. But there's
I can remember some. So not necessarily horror stories, but where people have just not used common sense.
Yeah.
So we've had many. Well, we've had a few where they've checked in on Friday. They've got the keys out of the key box. They've stayed over the weekend, and then instead of putting the keys in the key box, they've posted them through a neighbour's door.
And then not even the door of the apartment they've stayed in or the house that they've stayed in, through the neighbour's door.
The neighbour who don't live there anymore. The property's empty, and that's fantastic. So that's a locksmith out and having to sort out a property, bearing in mind that cleaners have got to go in that morning, and next guests are due to arrive in 4 hours. So it's literally the clock starts.
Yeah.
And that's just one really stupid incident.
Or they've turned up to the property and they've put in obviously there's the front door of the property, there's the lockbox where we have the keys for the guests to collect them. They've put in the code of the lockbox, which then allows the lockbox to open. But instead of opening the lockbox, they've put in the code, and then they're trying to open the door. Like the code will magically sync to the door handle. unlock the door. Like,
I think it's really difficult to run a serviced accommodation business and have faith in humanity.
yeah,
Honestly, it really does. You don't realise that people like this actually exist.
but the amount of times I've had calls at 11 o'clock at night and they've said that the lockbox code doesn't work, they've put the code in, it doesn't open. So I've explained, have you pulled the little lever and pulled it down? Yes. And then they're like, I know what I'm doing, I'm not an idiot, blah, blah, blah. So you've gone down and the code is already on display because the guest has already put it in. And then you've walked up to the lockbox code and just opened it. And then they're like, oh, it didn't work a minute ago. Well, I've not fixed it remotely before I got there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
but that's my fault. That's my fault that they're unable to open the lockbox.
Yeah.
And we receive negative reviews.
Yeah.
Some of the negative reviews we get for stuff that's not our fault, like they didn't like the bathroom. One star.
Oh yeah, I know.
Brand new apartment. One of our first guests. We just spent thousands on this apartment. New kitchen, new bathroom, pool table, flat screen TVs, brand new everything, right?
But it didn't meet their expectations.
The style of the bathroom wasn't to his liking.
I think
One star.
I think it's so people are so dependent on getting a good review that it really can ruin their business.
100%. Yeah.
It really can. I mean, we were reading a review yesterday from someone else's Airbnb, weren't we? And we read it, and it even said about that someone had been in property taking pictures of the kids.
Yeah.
And
reading the
review,
it was like, wow,
yeah,
that's so bad. But then when you read the response from the actual host and what really happened,
yeah, and you genuinely, the host, they're not lying.
Yeah.
But it's that whole thing of this social media life we live in now, or people believe the first thing they read as though that's the truth.
Well, the good thing about reviews on Airbnb and Booking.com, for example, it's a public forum. So the guest can leave that public review, but then the host can leave a public response, which I absolutely love because, I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes we make mistakes and sometimes we do deliver a service that's not to our usual standard, and we'll openly hold our hands up and we'll apologise and we'll offer a partial refund and blah, blah, blah. And if we still get a negative review, we'll still hold our hands up and explain what happened and apologise. But there's sometimes guests leave reviews that are so biased, unfair, sometimes a retaliation review. For example, we had a guest last weekend that booked, again, a 2-bed terraced house. In the listing, it states that there's stairs, it's 2 up, 2 down. They'd arrived, and instead of not reading the listing before they arrived, his wife had mobility issues. So for me, if my wife had mobility issues, I'd be checking that the accommodation was suitable before I'd booked it and before it arrived. Anyway, he'd arrived late on a Friday night and said, didn't know there were stairs, we won't be staying here, we'll need a full refund. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to resell that property. And for me, it wasn't my error. It was the guest's error for not understanding the property that he's booked, not checking that it was suitable for his wife. So I don't think I should be out of pocket for that. So I declined the refund because it was the day of arrival. And our cancellation policy is 5 days before arrival anyway. He said there was nothing wrong with the property, just at the stairs. So then because I declined it, I got a 1-star review, and he made up a complete made-up scenario in his head that the property was dirty, the property was different to the pictures, it smelled, the stairs were dangerous. That it was a complete lie. Yeah. He made all that up because I didn't give him a refund. However, as I said previously, it's a public forum. So I just responded with the truth. And for me, because I've got quite a few properties in the portfolio and a huge amount of really good reviews, when I get one of those 1-star reviews, it shows that it's not a true reflection because everybody else can see all the 90% that are 5 stars and 10 out of 10s on Booking.com. So when one of those bad reviews comes in, it shows, it's quite clear that it's not a true reflection on our usual standards. However, smaller hosts
Yeah, I think that is the point. When people are first starting out,
It's
the
so
reviews
damaging.
are so important to them that it really can make or break them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think let's move on then from the negatives, and let's move into let's talk a little bit about systemization,
Absolutely.
and optimization, and what it is that you do to make it run so smooth.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we do that we call them non-negotiables, and these are the things that we make sure every property does. I've lost my trail of thought.
Because I just pointed to you about
I know, bang it.
smacking on the table.
Let's go back and say that again.
Yeah. Well, I'm not editing this out. People can listen to the fact that you keep slamming on that table because they can probably hear you. They can genuinely hear you slamming on the table.
I know.
What-
It's because I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're shaking my mic as well.
oh my God, you're like a woman.
I'm like a woman. You're shaking mic and stamping about. Anyway, go on, carry on.
Who's left toilet seat? Oh, bang, bang, bang.
Carry on.
So yeah, a couple of non-negotiables. I've lost my trail of thought, mate. I'm fucked.
So let's talk about optimization and systemization and your non-negotiables as to how that helps your
Don't
business
say it like that.
run so smooth. Why? What do you mean don't say it like that? What do you mean don't say it
In
like
slow
that?
motion.
Well, I'm talking to you because you're special and you need me to talk. You need me to talk slow for you to understand.
Hey, we need to take. Let's call time.
I'm not cutting this out.
We are.
This is my podcast. You're staying on.
Unbelievable.
That were genuinely a hint at a podcast I watched, well, a few months ago now. Where where the guest stood up halfway through and tried to walk out
why are you
because he
asking me
won't
that?
cancel it.
Why are you asking me that? Cancel this.
Cancel. Stop. In fact, he did that.
Did he?
That? He was like, just cut this podcast now. And then she went, this is my podcast. I'm not cutting this podcast off. Like, why are you ripping people off? Why are you ripping people off?
Yeah,
I want to know.
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, and then funnily enough, his business has just gone into insolvency last week and his people owed thousands. Shock. All from doing a podcast and him getting called out as to why did you buy these properties? And then suddenly they got sold to one of your friends, and then suddenly this, and it's like, yeah. And then, you can stand up and storm out of that podcast, but that's going out.
Okay.
So yeah, anyway, we've digressed.
And a lot of people know exactly what we're on about.
Everyone in property industry, I hope, knows, because there are charlatans out there that are literally out just to take your money. So while we're on that point, just be careful. And
So a couple of non-negotiables that I do at Stay Host Safe to make sure that the properties are running smoothly and automatically, essentially. We use the correct marketing because it's essential.
Good pictures.
Yeah, good pictures. And if you're looking for a decent photographer, we'll pop a link to.
I genuinely thought you were going to say another photography business then. If you're looking for a decent photographer, do not use Jonny Brown's professional property photography.
Other photography businesses are available. Please do use Jonny Brown. He's actually
No, you don't have to. You honestly don't have to, because I am so busy in investing in property that taking photos of houses is taking up too much of my time.
I know, yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
No, but on a serious note, though, I have got other photographers who do it for me now, so we're good.
Yeah. Great marketing, making sure that property looks the best it can look. I see so many people that just have a lovely property and just use iPhone pictures, terrible angles. The beds don't look good. And I just wouldn't choose it. It's like you've said this in the past, Airbnb especially, when you're going through all those tile cards of properties, it's Tinder for where you're going to stay, isn't it?
It's Tinder for property.
You're just swiping no. And if your property literally jumps off the page, jumps out of your phone into somebody's face, they're going to look at it. And once they're in there, hopefully they'll book. But if your property looks dull, looks like it's been taken from an iPhone, then they're not going to book it, and that's just
Yeah, I mean, on that, the issue is everybody can see now that Airbnb is absolutely saturated.
yeah,
There is so much choice now. It's not just that there's one or two Airbnbs in a city or a village. There's thousands. So you really have got to try and stand out from the crowd and make people. It's psychological.
Yeah.
So you're selling a feeling. So and literally you've got less than a nanosecond to sell that feeling.
yeah,
So that first picture, the first picture is the most important,
Yeah.
because that's what draws people in, and that's why we do a lot of what's called lifestyle shots,
Yeah.
which are the nice. We a nice aperture, something nice, something
Yeah.
that draws you in to think, ooh, that looks nice, and it could just be something as simple as a bottle of really expensive champagne.
yeah.
It's not necessarily that you're going to get that bottle of champagne,
I know, yeah.
but you've
Or a croissant in the kitchen, or some fruit, or something like that.
but it's drawn you in to go, oh, I want this looks like they've put effort in,
yeah,
and so they've put effort in, so I'll put some effort in to actually look at their property,
yeah,
and once their foot's in that door, it's then the rest of the images, and it's the description, and it's the reviews
yeah.
that actually sell it to them.
Absolutely.
You could be the most expensive Airbnb, but as long as you've ticked all them boxes, it don't matter if there is one next door but one cheaper.
Yeah.
And it can be exactly the same if you've marketed it right.
Yeah.
They will pick you over them because you've sold the feeling to them. They can envision themselves there.
Completely agree. And the compelling description needs to be compelling. It needs to be real. If you are going to use ChatGPT to write the description, don't just copy and paste it. Make sure it feels authentic, because I'm not going to tell everybody not to use AI. Use AI for lots of different stuff. It's a fabulous tool. But if you are going to use it, make sure it's capturing your property in the right light.
And as our social media manager Hannah says, tweakness. So if you do use ChatGPT, make sure that you're tweaking.
Tweaking, yeah. Was it
Tweakness? I'm sure she said tweakness. Give her a shout. I'm only kidding.
No. So yeah, and not just listing it on Airbnb and Booking.com. You really should be listing it on various different platforms, such as there's so many to go from. Contractor booking sites, insurance companies, theatre groups. There's so many different places. If it's not listed in at least 20 plus places, you need to go away and start listing it in other places. If you drop us a message after this podcast, I can send you a list of all the places that we list them, and then you can go down them, and if your property's not on that, stick it on there.
Because that is the thing. People call them Airbnbs. Airbnb are just one company.
Absolutely.
You do not have to use just Airbnb.
Yeah. And even better than that, if you've not got your own direct booking website, get yourself a direct booking website. You need to be driving as many bookings away from your Airbnb, Booking.com, any booking platform that takes a commission. That's lost revenue. That's lost money. If you can have as many bookings coming through your direct booking website where there's no commission per booking, it's just more money in your back pocket. Any booking that returns for a second stay, they need to be booking direct. And there's various different ways how you can convert those bookings. Again, drop us a message if you want to chat about direct bookings and converting direct bookings. We're more than welcome to have a chat about that, and getting the pricing right as well. We use dynamic pricing tools, which uses artificial intelligence to compare prices with other listings in the area, what's going on in the city. They look at the rates that were secured last year, and what that does, it generates a dynamic price which will automatically make your property sell your property at the most competitive price. There's various different tools that do this. A couple of the big ones are Price Labs, Beyond, Wheelhouse. I use one called Rate Genie, which works really, really well for me. But that just ensures that you're not leaving money on the table because it will always ensure your price is the most competitive in low season, so you're getting those bookings, and it will also increase it to if something big happens in the city. For example, last year when Arctic Monkeys, or the year before when Arctic Monkeys, they announced their tour in Sheffield, I went on to change the prices within minutes to make sure we were getting the best rates possible for those dates. And my dynamic pricing tool had already spotted it and already increased the price, which I thought was insane. I thought there would at least have been a 24-hour lag, but it had spotted it in real time and adjusted that price. So
and that literally
pricing,
could be the difference of make or break.
100%.
Honestly, like
100%.
And I think especially if you're doing rent to rent, that it's them little influxes that I think you need.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need events so that the price does rise a little bit, so that you can charge that little bit more. So again, it's a supply and demand.
Yeah.
And that a lot of people don't understand with rent to rent that the risk is it's a massive risk. You're putting it on yourself that you've got to make sure that you can cover this amount of rent before you actually make any money. And I know many people who've gone months without making profit, months and months and months and months. And it's months and months and months of hard work, and they're not concentrating on anything else because they're all in on this. And so optimization, like using like Rate Genie, it's incredible. It's brilliant, and I love it. I remember that time with Peter Kay. Peter Kay came to Sheffield. He just announced it, and I think just as he'd announced it, I think I remember you saying like Rate Genie picked it up, rocketed rates up, but then they were booked. Like that's the thing. As soon as the people have booked their tickets and got their tickets, they're looking for accommodation.
Yeah.
Some people book the accommodation first as well. If it's a refundable deposit,
they were booking minutes.
They'll book it before the tickets even come out.
Yeah, they were booking minutes after the announcement came, and fortunately, well, not fortunately, thankfully, the system that I use had already increased the rate, so I wasn't leaving any money on the table. So it's really important that you get your pricing right.
Well, I booked an Airbnb. Remember I told you I booked an Airbnb last year for when we got Oasis tickets, because we knew we wanted to go to Oasis in Manchester, and we wanted the first night. And I booked it through, I don't even know if to plug them. No, in fact, I'm not plugging them because they ripped me off. They still owe me money.
Name and shame.
Name and shame. No, I'm not naming and shaming. It's not very nice. But
did you get your money back?
I still haven't got my money back.
Name and shame.
I still haven't got my money back. So they sound a little bit like cushion partners. I think that's as close as I'm going to say it. But yeah, so cushion partners in Manchester took my money from an Airbnb that I booked, and I booked it a year in advance to make sure we'd got a property for Manchester, because I knew there were 85,000 people going on the same night. They're all going to want Airbnbs or hotels. It's going to, and all hotels are going to stack their price up. There were six of us going, so it were beneficial again for us to have an Airbnb because we can just split it between six of us, and it made sense. So I booked it a year in advance, and then 2 weeks before we were due to go, I just messaged them saying, I think by now I should have my instructions on where to get the key at least. And 2 days later, I got a message saying we've actually shut this Airbnb down. We're not Airbnb-ing it anymore. Well, thank you very much, cushion partners.
Pillow friends.
And if you are listening, I would like my money back. Thank you very much. That'd definitely pay for a golf weekend, to be fair. So yeah.
That's what
Pillow friends.
That's what not to do in service accommodation.
So again, that's not what to do. And it was probably down to them not being systemized. Yeah, we get it. Airbnbs fail, and I booked it a year in advance, and maybe something went wrong with the Airbnb. But if it was systemized properly, I would have had a message 6 months prior.
100%.
And I would have had the time.
There has to be a procedure for what you do when that happens. We've got procedures for what happens for almost every scenario. And if we come across a scenario that we've not got a procedure for, we then have a procedure for that scenario, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
or an
yeah.
SOP, because it's really important that everybody in the team, whether it's the VAs that we have or the people that work on the ground in the area, we're all singing off the same hymn sheet and we're all doing the same thing. If this happens, this is what we do. If this happens, this is what we do. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, because we are coming to the end, I've just got one question then. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned in doing serviced accommodation or property management of serviced accommodation?
Outsource. Yeah. Outsource the day-to-day tasks that are taking up all of your time. Because if you don't and do that early, because if you don't outsource early, those day-to-day tasks, you'll suddenly be doing those day-to-day tasks all day, every day, and you won't have any time to grow your business, to make sure your property is being the best it can be. So as soon as you can, outsource those tasks. We call them £10 an hour tasks, and that's not in a derogative way or anything like that, but we call them £10 hour tasks that we can outsource to a VA, outsource for somebody else in the team, so that we can then focus on the bigger tasks, which keeps the properties as good as they are, scale the business. So that would be my biggest advice.
Awesome.
Outsource as early as possible.
Fantastic. So I just want to wrap up this episode.
I think we're going to probably need a part 2 of this
Part
episode,
two,
because
I think we will come back. I think there is a lot more, but we are almost 40 minutes into this episode.
wow, really, this is the longest one.
Yeah, this is the longest one yet. So I think we will come back because there is a lot more we want to talk about. I think we do want to dive a bit more into the automation, the systemization.
100%.
But again, I think that's going to be an episode on its own.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you for listening. And I want to take this opportunity as well to thank everybody who's voted for us so far in the National Property Awards. Because you might have heard that we have actually made finalists for Property Personality of the Year. I feel like that's more me than you, though, to have been nominated for Property Personality.
I got nominated for the most miserable the most miserable person in property award.
I think that's probably because of all the guests who complain have been. Oh, look, Luke's getting a call just as we come to the end of the podcast. Yeah, I think all the guest complaints over the years have probably chipped away at you a little bit. But anyway, yeah, we want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's voted for us. And if you do want to vote for us to win the award, we'll put a link in the description for this.
Please do vote. It does. We've already won. I mean, we've been nominated. We're in the finalist.
And the people that we've been nominated alongside is absolutely epic. Some massive names in the industry. Some really big names who, in the years that I've been doing this, I've looked up to.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're nominated alongside them, in fact, the fact that we've been made finalists alongside them, is I've won already. I feel like we've won already. But if you can vote for us, we really appreciate it. But we do feel like we've already won. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody, and we'll catch you on next week's episode where we're going to be talking about social media.
Ooh. That's your gig.
That's my gig, and we're gonna have Hannah in from HP Marketing Solutions.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. We're going to have Hannah from HP Marketing Solutions, who does all our social media and does an absolutely amazing job.
She really is amazing.
You really do need to listen, because we're going to be talking all about algorithms and what works, what doesn't, how you should be optimizing, again, your social media. So do listen to that podcast.
Cool.
All right.
See you next week.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. And why not follow us on Instagram @Olive Venture Properties.